A Wally wing spinner, my version. A simple but effective fly that gets the job done whether tied as a PMD size 16 or a small Trico size 20. For this video, I will tie a size 16 PMD spinner. Trailing this fly behind a dry fly is a very effective way to fish this fly. So let's get started. We're going to be using a 212Y Tiemco hook, size 17, for this tie, and some size 16 Vivas tan thread. What we're going to do is put a bead of thread on the hook using a jam knot. And for the abdomen, we're going to be using a mallard flank wood duck colored feather. First thing we're going to do is we're going to trim off the fluff and save that because we're going to use it to dub the thorax of the fly later. And strip off some of the bobs. Like so. And then peel back probably somewhere in the order of 5 or 6 barbs on each side. You want to use a little Orvis high float dressing, just a little bit of a touch of it. Smooth along the bobs along the stem, like so. Pull them tight. Lay the feather along the shank at a little bit of an angle. A couple of pinch wraps, a couple of tight wraps. Cut off the stem. Securely wrap that abdomen feather in. Back down just a little beyond the bend. Now we're going to prepare the wing feather. And we've got a natural colored mallard flank. Here again, we're going to strip off the fluff. No need to save the fluff. And start slowly massaging the bobs back down the stem. Get them evened up. Put a little bit of the dressing, the Orvis dressing. The wing helps control the bobs, gets them to look all lined up. I'll bring it back to approximately size of a 16 mayfly wing. Always tie the Wally wing a little bit larger than what you expect the finished fly to be, because you can always make the wing a little smaller, obviously not larger. couple of pinch wraps, a couple of tight wraps, bend in with your thumbnail and your finger or your thumb and bend the wing up. Don't let go of the tail end of the wing material, so you can reach in there easily and snip off the remaining fibers. A couple of other tight wraps here. Again, bend in with your thumbnail. Now we're going to split the wing. I like to do it with one barb. You can do it with 2 or 3. Just I find it easier with one. Ever so gently start to split of the feather. Now reach in there with your scissors and cut off the stem. A couple of tag ends up at the top. Take your finger and your thumb and bend the wings down and press in along the shank of the hook. They should spring back into good position. Now we'll do a couple of figure 8s. We can tie down the wings in a spent fashion. Now we want to get a piece of razor foam about 1 millimeter thick, about 2 millimeters wide, and place it on the back end of the thorax and tie it in. Now you want to get back the fluff for the abdomen feather that you saved when you cut it off, and dub it in with a little bit of the dressing, the Orvis dressing, a little bit at a time. And create the thorax. Little figure 8s, a little bit more. Another little bunch should do. Just a little. All right. Bring the thread over the back of the feathers and down. And what we're going to do now is we're going to put on a CDC tuff. I like, for this fly, I like using the olive gray color. At first we're going to spin the bobbin in a counterclockwise direction. That'll flatten out the thread so so that we can split it and then put the CDC tuck in between it. Create a little bit of a CDC hackle. Put the CDC between the split thread. You now want to cut off the stem. Spread the hackle a little bit down so it's spread out a little bit. And rotate your bobbin in a clockwise direction while holding the thread. And you can run your finger up and spin the CDC, creating a CDC hackle. We're going to wrap that on the back. Of the thorax, behind the wings. Get our whip finisher. About 4 or 5 wraps. Get down. Cut off the thread. Do a little bit of trimming. A little bit of cement on the knot. And we want to clear that with a feather. Trimming here up at the, okay. A little bit more trimming underneath. Cut the CDC off beneath the fly. Bring the foam forward through the wings. Stretch the foam just a bit. We're going to cut it off. At the head, CDC is all in place, and then whip finish 3 or 4 times. Now we'll create the tail. Get your bark and pick out one barb on each side of the stem. Peel them back. You can cut off the remaining part of the feather stem. Pull the bobs back for the tail, trim them off to size. Cut off the thread. Put a little head cement on your head. And then again, you want to clear the eye. With a feather. Little trimming. And the feathers down. And we have a finished fly. A little more trimming underneath. Clear out all that CDC. Just leave it on the top. We have a finished fly here. A Wally wing spinner, my version.